I must say, I hope that you are as glad and proud as I am to be an INCOSE member if I see what has been done in the last 2 days here at this very event. It really was exciting, and it was very good to see, so excellent. I'm Paul Schreinemakers, the INCOSE Technical Director, and I'm glad that I'm able to give a presentation to you where I want to address a few things. First is, we have seen various working groups discussing items here, and I would like to give you an overview of a few of the activities that we see in the international arena in line with these same working groups. And other two items that I would like to discuss is in line with the 5-year objectives that we as INCOSE have set, is what they mean for the working group activities. So that's what I'm going to address here as well. Okay. What you see here is the overview of the technical working groups. In INCOSE Technical Operations, we do have some 49 different working groups in various areas. And actually, they form the heart of our organization, of our technical organization. And that's where a lot of the information is being developed internationally, but surely also on chapter level. And what we see here is on sector level. That's what we have seen in a vibrant way in these last 2 days. And we are focusing on solving the various problems that we have and how we can make products that we can use on global level. So on chapters, internationally, and for the various organizations. And what you see here is the structure, that's the bottom figure indicated, that is a structure that was identified several years ago as let's say the architecture behind the setup of the working groups in the organization, is where if you put systems engineering in the center, we have some sources of information like knowledge, we do have processes, technologies, and they enable to do systems engineering. And system engineering is to be applied in various domains like industry, academia, and government. That's what TechOps is trying to cover, where we have various roles within the organization. So assistant directors that are each responsible for a series of working groups. And we have people that are, let's say, perpendicular to the working groups and looking at the things like how the working groups can operate and work in a proper way. But also looking at initiatives like the standards initiative, how INCOSE can be involved and take a lead in the standards that are created. And INCOSE is not a standard setting body, but we are strongly supporting the creation of standards. Well, with respect to the working groups, this is a slide that Jean-Claude also showed you yesterday, or the day before yesterday actually. And that's where you see a subset of the working groups that we have active in the international arena. And the ones in blue are actually associated to the activities that we have been doing here in the last 2 days. Except for one, and that is the verification and validation working group. That was retired in the international arena last year, since there was hardly any activity in that area. So we are looking forward to see how we can develop the verification and validation activities integrated and then see how we can re-energize that activity. So that will be an excellent thing if that could happen. Looking at the working groups that are active in the international arena, covering some of the issues that we have been discussing in the last 2 days. Ontology. Ontology is being covered or picked up now by both the MBSE initiative where they are looking, okay, what ontology do we need to do proper model-based system engineering? And in line with the transformation of system engineering to a more model-based discipline, to which I come back later. But that's one of the initiatives where they are also looking into what does ontology mean and how can we implement ontology and create ontology. And there are other activities like in the architecture arena where a framework is being generated for the architecture competencies. You see at the bottom, for instance, the standards where we are active in. So that's a set we are strongly involved in, and that we are supporting quite some of the INCOSI members to attend these standards meetings. So here you see at least a series of stuff and activities that's going on. And the last one that I would like to pick out as well is the guide for writing requirements. We had a session yesterday on requirements as well as ontology. And the working group has created the guide for writing requirements, a version 2 of it, which is a serious and a very significant improvement of, with respect to version 1. Okay. I already mentioned these 5-year objectives that we are working on since 2014, so last year that is. And this is the overview of them. One is growth. And growth is, we're here it's stated, we want to be double in size in 5 years as of 2015. So in 19 we should have a double number of members. That is not just individual members, but also corporate organizations that are involved. And like AFIS and the UK chapter and other chapters in the region have a very strong corporate involvement with their local CAPs. So that is a very good thing. So the increasing of the involvement of organizations as well as spreading to other domains like healthcare, mobility, increase our involvement in these domains is one of our targets. Setting up alliances so we can amplify our ability to spread the word and do the mission. Paul Davies, he's still in the room, is the director for outreach, and as such very strongly involved in getting these alliances across. Education, so the academia side of things, where we want to have curricula. Well, you saw the presentation before with respect to the academia, where that was addressed, how that is being picked up at this event, as well as the reporting that was done on the international level. And that will, the global level, I must say, since this very event is as international as the other events are. Products, I will come back to that later, since that's one of the objectives that is being led by TechOps, so I will come back to that one later. Forums is looking aside of the symposia, international workshop that we have as an organization. Look at how we can improve the type of events, like this very event. This is a perfect example of having a different style of an event. Well, and Europe is, I may say, or EMEA, is quite in the front of that kind of renewals or improvements of our organization, since we had, I think for 2 or 3 years now, have the Nordic SE Tour, where you don't let people go to the event, but you bring the people presenting, or you bring the folks presenting to the people in the various chapters. So it's a kind of a tour where, in that case, it was Germany, Denmark, Sweden, and Finland, where presentations were given by the same people. So that formula is being applied in various settings now, so which is quite successful. So that might go to a wider scope as well. Competency, where Max Berthold, who is the CAP chair, is leading the effort to improve the competency and the definitions of the competencies. You saw some reporting on that earlier today or this afternoon. And I will come back to transformation, the other one in red, which is in our bucket, so to say, to take the lead in on the transformation of systems engineering to a model-based discipline. Okay. Speaking of transformation. There's always different views on things, as we all know. Looking at the transformation, here you see restated the acceleration of the transformation of system engineering to this model-based discipline. And actually what we want to accelerate is what we see is that, and I'll come back to the curve later, that Gartner, I think it was, has created that curve where you can see, okay, there is a lot of excitement and then you come into a dip, and where are we as an organization with respect to the implementation of model-based systems engineering? Come back to that later. So how can we empower the people to apply model-based system engineering and to further improve it? And that's what actually the transformation is also about making the changes, making it a way of working that is much more spread than just for the systems engineers. Okay, so better go to the next slide. Okay. And the bottom one before I go, it's good to mention that one, is that we are reaching out to better collaboration with various other domains and these specialist domains from which a system is built up, and we have to see how their models can be integrated to a whole. And that's where we can kick in as the systems engineer, connecting the dots of the various disciplines. Well, this is this Gartner hype cycle, where you can see that you have various stages. On the vertical axis, you see the expectations or the energy of the excitement, that kind of parameters on the vertical axis. And in time that you see that you go through various phases, the initiation, where you have the people, the innovators that are having strong feelings, this is a beautiful way of doing business, of doing our work. So you see energy go up, expectations go up like crazy. And then at a certain point, you see that you need to widen the scope of people that are working with it. And at that point, you see that you may end in a dive in some cases. And that is because the innovators are people that want to make the new steps, but the majority of people in an organization are, let's say, more conservative and want to see, okay, does it really work? You guys are saying it works, but show me. And then sometimes it becomes a bit harder, and that makes them even more reluctant to make the step. And then in the end, if you go through the dip, that's a critical thing, then you go up and you can go to the true implementation. And actually, so the energy, it might be that at a later stage people come to that realization that things are not working, but actually that's not what we want to do. What we want to see happen is that the dip will go away and that the expectation at the start become more realistic. That's what we actually want to achieve. Well, actually, where are you with the organization? And where's your organization with the implementation of model-based system engineering? Well, there must be some ideas. Excuse me?
Which organization?
Well, where you're working. Your own?
Well, we're definitely not sold on Inco's vision for systems engineering becoming model-based, not at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how that maps onto the graph, because I think it challenges the shape of the graph. But that's where I think we are.
The challenges are?
It challenges the shape of the graph you've drawn, so I'm not sure I can map up.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. It's more of acceptance of the idea that is in here.
Well, the NBSE view of the world seems to us, or certainly to me, it seems quite incomplete.
Okay.
I haven't seen much progress on plugging the gaps. The
Yes.
emphasis seems rather on trying to de-emphasize the gaps.
Absolutely. And that is exactly the point why the transformation came in, since we realized that there needs to be done more than just the idea of having this, just saying, okay, model-based system engineering is it. There is more implication to the transformation than just saying, thou shall do it. That's not going to work. Another thing that is in here is the chasm. Well, the opening picture before starting up the presentation was a view in the Grand Canyon. Well, we don't want to have the chasm become that big, of course. But still, in the step between the innovators, the early adapters, to the majority of the organization, that's what typically is the chasm. The acceptance of the change, where the early adopters say, okay, let's do it, and the others say, well, show me. And adding these two up brings actually that the chasm is near where the huge dip is in the in Gartner's hype cycle. So that's what we want to come across. And again, as stated here at the bottom, where's your organization? I'm sure you're going to have an idea of where you actually are with your organization. What we want to achieve with the objective of the acceleration is that we want to advance and better mature and more mature the model-based system engineering practice. And what we should create is the cohesive language with the specifics for the various domains that we should allow, must allow, but formalize as well, is what does model-based system engineering in its terminology mean in one organization, and what does it mean in another domain. Domain is what the word I should have used. What we also would like to do is mainstream model-based system engineering. And what I mean by that is, maybe one or two or more of you have read Bill Miller's article 2 years ago now, roughly, called Camping Out, and it was published in Insight. And it illustrated that we have a lot of camps and groups in our organization. And if you look at the IW, there is almost a separate, there was a separate, now it's better merged, but it is a separate model-based system engineering workshop at the IW. What we would like to see happen is, how can we incorporate the model-based system engineering aspects better in other working group activities, like the infrastructure working group that is looking at things like building information modeling. It's not just in the model-based system engineering team, but it should be throughout the working groups where applicable. Again, it's not thou shall do the model-based system engineering, but where applicable, that's where we shall encourage, or will encourage people to look at it at least and try to implement it. What we would like to do before this falls down is that we connect with the other domains. People that are working, we are psyched about model-based system engineering. It's perceived in some cases as fairly new, where it probably started in the 80s with the first attempts on that. However, mechanics, electronics are modeling way, way longer, physics. So they have a lot of experience in the modeling. And where our bit comes in is the connecting of these various other domains. That's where the strength for us will be. And one of those is, and some of you may have seen it in one or two of the presentations, is building information modeling. Paul Davies was referring to that earlier as he gave his presentation, that the building information modeling is a trend partially even enforced by the European Union about how to build the models in the building industry. And that's not just buildings that are being created, but also infrastructure, road and rail infrastructure. So the enforcement by European government may help us in getting an example of seeing, okay, this is how we can make model-based system engineering work, and actually show the examples so that your organization can say, okay, this is actually an example that we can apply. Okay. Impactful products. What we also want to do is create products as an organization that are impactful and will improve the discipline of systems engineering. And there are two approaches in here. One is that we are going to look, okay, what's out there? What's available? What's available in the working groups? What is available in the chapters, in the initiatives? And what we want to do, secondly, is where do we want to be in 2019? What do we think are impactful products that we should start working on that we can use in 2019? And looking at these 2019 products, so the top-down products as we call them, is that we have made an inventory with the various groups within the organization, like the Corporate Advisory Board. What are our big sponsors? What are they requesting as things that we should be working on? And as well as for the Industry Outreach Board, what does industry need? What does academia need? And what does TechOps see as very important products that we need to start working on? And some examples are here listed in this overview of things that people came up with as important items to do. And actually some of them were being in the, let's say, in the start blocks of getting picked up, like Anthologies. Another interesting is a repository of short movies with information about what systems engineering is. A bit in line with the Z guides, I must say in English, that are information leaflets of just an A4 size paper, addressing specific topics and say, this is what this is actually about. Crisp and very good. And why not have short movies doing the same that educational organizations can use as input to show to their students. So that is the types of things that were addressed. The SE Foundation, that was a thing that was also mentioned in the SE Vision 2025 as the one thing that we are missing in our organization and in our the information that we share and have as an organization, as INCOSY. So that's what we need to work on. However, that's not an easy step to make. This shortlist will be brought to the board soon, so we can make a decision on what we want to pick up first. The treasure hunt. It is finding the golden eggs, the perfect products that we have in our organization. And we do have lots of those. Actually, interesting is we have the official products that we see generated by working groups. And you all know technical people. It needs to be ready for 150, 200%, and then are we going to release it. So there is a huge amount of information in there, or bits of information. And I compared it with what they call in astronomy dark matter. There is a lot of Mars out there, and we could see half of it. That's giving that's the thing that is the stuff we see with light. However, the dark matter is what we do not see. However, it is a very big part of the mass that we have up there. And we want to harvest that as well. And it's in working groups. It's in the initiatives. And it's in the chapter working groups. There's a lot of information there that we can share.
Yes, I can contribute. I've got an egg.
What about the color?
Color is good.
Color is good, yeah. And the stamp, it has a stamp, yeah. Okay, and what we want to do is implement and make it accessible, very easily accessible. One click from the main page on the INCOSE website, and that's where you can see the overview or make a selection of the types of products that you want to see. So that's what we really want to create. And actually, we are in a stage where we can start publishing stuff. So that should be available in not too long. Okay, and you saw the products. Jean-Claude showed you this slide. This is some of the official products that we have. Publications within working groups or in corporations, the official publications like Insight and System Engineering, the events that create a lot of information with the papers and the panel and tutorial stuff that is being generated. And of course, the special initiatives that we have, like the Vision 2025, the standards that we cooperate in, specifically the one that is shown here is the 15288, and BSE. So this slide was shown by Jean-Claude as well. Well, not really. There is a slight difference with what you've seen last Tuesday, or last Wednesday. What is the difference? Excuse me? AppCosec? No, that was in there. Your, which handbook? PLA handbook, exactly. So you see on the left, in the top, the product line engineering handbook that AFIS has generated. A very important piece, available in English. At least it is, it exists in English, and we hope it's going to be available to whoever would like to have it and buy it from the AFIS organization. And I know there is a lot of interest in that. At least as soon as I showed it to people, I was one of the lucky ones to get an example. And people are very enthusiastic and would really like to have one. So there is a need. And what we would like to do via the INCOSE website is make the links available. You see the link, it's not a circle, but it's indicated in red where the link will be. And again, you see, sure, safe travels. And you see some of the products that have recently been released as new products under the INCOSE umbrella. The last thing I would like to bring to the table is anthologies, something different than ontology. And what it is, actually, it is a set of collections of information that are related to each other. And what we would like to see is, okay, if with the huge source of information that we have with over 20 years, 25 years of symposia, with all kind of publications, what is a set of publications that are related to a topic, a technique that we have available, and make a smart cross-sections of those topics. And that's what we are working at this point. Mike Cilentano, the Deputy Technical Director, is taking up the lead for making that happen. And I think there will be some publications in not too long. So that's really going to be good. And actually, here is an analysis that was done on the papers in what we used to call IPUB, which is now available via Wiley. Is the type of papers and topics that were presented at symposia, and where the balance is in the numbers that we have seen on these topics. So that's one of the many analysis that is being done at this point with people, stakeholders saying, okay, but this is what we would like to see, that is what we would like to see. So that should be a publication that is going to be made quite soon. And what we are really keen on is that you can create your own ontology and say, this is what I would like to find, like a search engine, and then go through this information. That would be excellent. Okay, almost coming to the end. Who of you has been to the international workshop earlier this year? Okay, perfect. Well, there is going to be another one, same place, so it's not hard to find for those who were there. Nice weather, by the way, that time of year. And what we will see is that we have many working groups that have their business meetings and have their working meetings. We are going to start mainstreaming this model-based system engineering at that point. We are working with the model-based system engineering initiative to make that happen. We're going to have 2 town hall meetings with respect to products and the transformation. Well, some of the stuff that you have presented here will be presented there as well. Bookcase is going to have an update. Where are we at this point with Bookcase? And you will have a lot of networking opportunities. And what we also will do is, for those of you who were in the IW recent years, at the end you have a kind of a bazaar or a marketplace where all the working groups show what they have done. Actually, that's after the deed. What we would like to see is that we better publish what we are going to do and say, but that's where I want to join in. So people know in advance what's coming up, and that they can better pick their thing on what they want to see. Okay, so thank you very much.